Pickens County. I don't even know what Pickens County is. So I'm confused.
Where was your DUI?
Jasper.
Jasper, is that a city or county?
County. Can I call my lawyer?
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish.
Now, when
The whole case exploded the moment the judge dropped King Harris's final sentence. T.I. didn't just sit there quiet. No way. He leapt up like any father who refuses to watch his son get dragged, checking the judge right there in front of the entire courtroom. What was supposed to be a quick routine hearing suddenly turned into a showdown so wild the hood is still buzzing about it. But let's be real.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why you want to be over there. Y'all ready? Because he can suck and pacify over there. And he was 12 years old. He was sucking pacify and he was 12 years old. He couldn't do that in the house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They trying to say I was over there trying to...
Yo, when Tiny dropped that bomb about King still using a pacifier at 12 years old, the internet went crazy.
This was the day when King Harris finally found out that trying to live like a gangster isn't just about flashy cars and tough talk. October 14th, 2024 stamped it in stone. Because when the law comes knocking, you either stand tall or you fold. And King learned fast that consequences don't play favorites.
Come on, man. That pussy. King Harris.
Standing on business.
What we talking about, man? Come on, man.
Don't play with people's kids now.
He
Don't
talking
play
about,
with
hey,
King.
come on, man. What? Come on, bro.
King said
You
he
talking about
created
King
the term standing on
TIP,
business.
son?
Yes, King.
He said he pulling up on you.
Picture it, a chill Monday afternoon in Dunwoody, Georgia. King sliding through the suburbs in his sleek black BMW, probably thinking the day's gonna be smooth sailing. But here's the crazy part. Sometimes the streets don't care if you're trying to stay low-key. They'll find you anyway, and that's exactly what happened. Cops pulled King over after he crossed double yellow lines making a left turn. A move so reckless, he nearly smacked straight into a police cruiser rolling out of the Chevron station. Imagine, almost colliding with the very people who live for pulling you over. That's not just bad luck, that's a setup for disaster. And from that one reckless turn, King's whole world went spiraling out of control. T.I. saw it coming. The judge tried to hold it down, but what came next had everybody gasping in disbelief. Real talk, everybody's cut that corner when they spot a little gap in traffic. But here's the difference. When you're King Harris, son of T.I., with your name already flashing on every cop's radar, even the smallest slip feels like a headline. Nothing you do goes unnoticed, and this time it was about to get loud. Literally. At first, King played it smooth, like he'd been here before. Calm, collected, no shaky hands, no arguing. He laid his papers out on the dashboard like he was following the script to the letter. For a second, it looked like he knew exactly how to keep things chill when blue lights hit the rear view. But then, the whole energy switched up quick. The officer leaned in and caught that heavy smell of loud pouring out the whip. And right there on King's hip, a black pistol sitting bold in plain sight, like the universe want this moment to blow up. Now the game changed instantly. No more just a traffic stop. This was suburban Georgia, where cops don't play, and the second they see heat mixed with herb, it's lights, camera, action. You better believe they were about to turn a minor ticket into a full-blown spectacle. The officer wasted no time. Safety first, right? Weapon had to be secured before anything else went down. He cleared the chamber, made sure it was safe, and kept everything locked tight. And surprisingly, King wasn't out here trying to puff his chest or flex fake tough guy energy. He stayed respectful, answered clean, and when they asked about the heat, he didn't fold or fumble. He admitted, straight up, it was his. That's the twist. In that moment, King wasn't acting like the reckless gangster he wanted people to believe he was. He was handling it calm, trying to show he could take the heat without sparking the flames. But oh, trust, the firestorm was just getting started. This was real street etiquette in action, both sides keeping it steady when weapons are involved. But here's where things got thick. Once the cops ran King's info through the system, the truth jumped out. He had unfinished business still hanging over his head. Turns out, Pickens County had a warrant out for him after he failed to appear in court. And what was it tied to? Old charges from way back in August 2022, speeding, driving on a suspended license, and even a DUI case. That's the kind of baggage that doesn't just disappear, no matter who your daddy is. You could feel the frustration pouring out of King's voice, like he really believed he was clear. He swore up and down he had no court dates pending, no papers left to sign, and that the DUI was already dismissed. But this wasn't some minor mix-up. This was the past coming back to snatch him at the worst possible moment. No celebrity pass, no family name, no fancy lawyer could make it vanish on the spot. Here's the wild part. The whole warrant got triggered because of a bureaucratic mess. The court's arraignment notice from 2022 got mailed out, but was returned undelivered in September 2024. And instead of fixing their mistake, the system just flipped the switch and dropped a bench warrant on him. That's the nightmare every hood story warns about, when lost paperwork turns into lost freedom, and suddenly you're the one paying for someone else's error. So there's King, cuffed up, sitting in the back of that patrol car while the cop reads him his Miranda rights, like it's just another box to check off the list. For the officer, it was another routine day. For King, it was the moment reality slammed into him harder than ever. And let's be real, nothing screams wake-up call louder than hearing the clink of steel on your wrists while realizing the past you thought was buried just dug itself right back up. For King, this was the crash landing. The moment all those street dreams collided headfirst with real street consequences. No more pretending, no more flexing on Instagram. This was the raw side of the life he thought he wanted. When cops tore through the BMW, it looked exactly like a scene out of a cautionary tale. First stop, a non-felony amount of marijuana, a blunt chilling in the ashtray, and even a basketball sleeve stuffed in the back seat with residue still clinging to it. Classic rookie move, messy, obvious, and impossible to explain away. And when they shoved the evidence in his face, King didn't even try to cap. He straight up said, "It's mine, bro." Respect for keeping it 100, but let's be real. When they catch you red-handed, denial only makes it worse. Problem was, the weed wasn't the main course. It was just the appetizer. King had already told them to expect more heat, even mentioning his stash, an AR-15 and other pieces tied to his crew. Now here's where it spiraled into nightmare mode, because once they linked those weapons with King's record, everything flipped into a felony case. With his prior juvenile conviction hanging over him, the charges stacked quick. Possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That's no small slap on the wrist under Georgia law. That's the kind of weight that can snatch years right out of your life. Meanwhile, the two passengers riding shotgun with him walked away. Light, just citations for the weed. No trip downtown. But King, his past came crashing down on him like a hammer. Same ride, same situation. But because of his record, he was looking at felony charges while his boys kept it moving. As the search dragged on, you could see King's whole demeanor shifting in that patrol car. Frustration boiling, his jaw locked tight, and the reality setting in heavy. The tough talk faded fast when he realized this wasn't a rap bar. This was his future on the line. The body cam footage caught it all. King, sitting cuffed in the back, muttering, "Ain't nothing in the car." His patience snapping with every second. And honestly, who wouldn't lose it? Watching cops rip apart your ride while you're powerless in the back seat is enough to make anyone's blood boil. But the phone calls that came next showed a different side of the whole mess. The raw, human part that doesn't always make the headlines. King tried to call T.I., desperate to reach his pops, but his phone was dead at the absolute worst time. Imagine sitting in that cell, needing backup, and your lifeline is cut off because your battery gave out. He begged to call his lawyer and his father, but the timing couldn't have been worse. It was Columbus Day, meaning the courts were closed and no bond hearing could even happen. That's the kind of nightmare nobody thinks about until they're living it. Trapped in the system on a holiday, when nobody can pull strings to help you. When he finally connected with his mom, the call hit different. No superstar filters, no fame, just a mother and son having a raw conversation about a situation that was spiraling out of control. It was proof that even celebrity families deal with the same heartbreak when their kids get caught up in the streets. From there, King's ride got darker, hauled off first to DeKalb County Jail, then shipped to Pickens County Jail by October 15th, 2024. Getting moved from county to county, waiting on courts to reopen, praying for bond. That grind shows how once you're in the system, your last name doesn't buy you special treatment. The legal storm got cleared up fast in courtroom terms. The bench warrant was recalled the very next day. But for King and his family, those 24 hours dragged like forever. Locked down, shuffled through the system, realizing that fame couldn't shield him from the cold reality of a jail cell. That's a scar you don't forget easy. King walked out on bond, but freedom came with strings attached. That firearm charge still hovered over him like a storm cloud waiting to burst. And the timing, wild, because this whole arrest went down right after King had celebrated his October 2024 baby shower. He was about to become a father with girlfriend Janya Epps. Talk about life hitting you from two sides at once. On one hand, here's a young man stepping into fatherhood, trying to figure out what responsibility really looks like. On the other hand, he's still tangled in street drama that won't let go. The streets didn't hold back their commentary either. Social media lit up instantly with people clowning him, dropping comments like, "He wanna be a thug so bad," and "T.I. gonna let him sit in there too." Fans and haters alike seem to get a kick out of watching a celebrity kid stumble while trying to balance privilege with a street image. But here's the truth. This wasn't some random, isolated moment. This arrest was just another chapter in a story that's been brewing for years. King's been living at the messy crossroads of suburban comfort and hood credibility, of family expectations versus personal choices. And now, with a child on the way, the pressure only got heavier. This situation cracked open deeper issues that had been simmering inside the Harris family for a long time. It wasn't just about one traffic stop or a couple grams of weed. It was about how family drama collides with street politics and how choices ripple out way bigger than one night in jail. So let's be real. That October 2024 arrest wasn't the end. It was just the opening act. To understand where King's headed, you gotta rewind the clock and look at the family dynamics that have been playing out in public for years. Because the real story lives there, and it's messier than anyone wants to admit. This wasn't just another case of a rich kid wilding out. Nah, this was deeper. This was what happens when flashy street dreams slam headfirst into suburban reality. And the real twist? A father who lived every page of that street life is now watching his own son try to cosplay the struggle he never had to live through. The tension between King and his pops, T.I., has been building like pressure in a trap house with no release valve. T.I.'s been open about it, saying he's exhausted from trying every angle. Whoopings, long talks, even therapy sessions. Nothing seemed to break through King's stubborn streak. Meanwhile, Tiny's been the glue trying to hold the family together while the madness kept spilling over. But let's be real. When you got a son desperate to prove he belongs in the streets even though he's never really been there, and a father who knows firsthand how ugly that road gets, you've got a recipe for explosive family beef. And explode it did, in front of the world. November 20th, 2023 should have been a wholesome family outing at an Atlanta Falcons game. Instead, the Harris family drama went viral in the messiest way possible. The whole world got a front row seat to their private battles, and once that footage hit social media, there was no putting the lid back on. On Instagram Live, King was talking reckless, bragging about how much cash he could pull from his pockets, insisting he never had it easy, trying to paint himself as self-made. T.I. wasn't having it, firing back hard, calling out King for growing up with a silver spoon and clowning him for acting like he knew real struggle. Then Tiny stepped in, and that's when it went nuclear. Tiny dropped a bomb that had the whole internet howling. She exposed that King was still using a pacifier way past the age anyone would expect. That embarrassing detail spread like wildfire, and suddenly, the Harris family wasn't just trending. They were the punchline of hip-hop's biggest family feud. When Tiny revealed King clung to a pacifier until the age of 12, the internet went into meltdown. People treated it as the ultimate symbol of how years of coddling had backfired. Instead of building toughness, it fostered entitlement. And once that kind of family secret hits the timeline, there's no rewind button. The damage is permanent. Things spiraled even further when the father-son clash got physical. T.I., frustrated beyond words, grabbed King in a chokehold to de-escalate the screaming match. King was flailing, yelling, fighting against his pops while Tiny pleaded for calm. That whole chaotic moment went viral in seconds. A 45-second clip that racked up over 5 million views and split the internet in half. Some argued T.I. was just being a father trying to discipline his son. Others blasted him for going too far in public. Either way, the Harris household drama had officially become a global spectacle. But beneath the memes and debates, that chokehold came from years of pent-up frustration. T.I. had been embarrassed before by King's reckless antics, his wild online behavior, his refusal to toughen up without handouts, his constant need to prove himself in ways that only made the family look messy. That Falcon suite wasn't just a stage, it was the breaking point where every old wound came ripping back open. And here's the kicker, King's entire social media persona kept throwing gasoline on the fire. With nearly 887,000 followers, he posted non-stop about music, fitness, and fatherhood, all while trying to sell himself as a street soldier. But people weren't buying it. When you're broadcasting from a mansion while claiming you're in the trenches, the internet is gonna call cap every single time. One moment that really exposed the disconnect came in January 2024, an Instagram video that showed just how far off the mark King was when it came to proving he knew real struggle. And once that clip hit the feeds, the streets had even more ammo to roast him with. King once hopped online with a stunt so wild it had the whole internet crying. He held up a crumpled piece of aluminum foil shaped into a makeshift bowl, filled with steaming ramen noodles, and proudly explained, "I done ran out of bowls. I done made me an aluminum foil bowl. Figure it out, man." Instead of respect, the hood roasted him non-stop. One viral reaction summed it up perfectly. The same guy that made a bowl out of aluminum foil just to eat his noodles. He wanted to be from the trenches so bad, but he got a mansion and flex in poverty. That clip racked up over 100,000 views before King deleted it. But everybody knows, the internet never forgets. His attempts to prove himself in rap weren't hitting either. King's boldest move came when he pulled an uninvited halftime performance at an Atlanta area high school game, trying to promote his track, Standing on Business. Instead of sparking hype, the moment turned into a comedy show. Kids in the crowd laughed at his bars, exposing how shaky his stage presence really was. When high school students clown you mid-performance, that's a sign your career rollout isn't landing the way you hoped. By this point, all these public L's had T.I.'s patience wearing razor thin. Throughout 2024, father and son butted heads constantly, and eventually, T.I. snapped, cutting off King's financial support in full view of the public. And let's keep it real. When your pops is T.I. and he decides to shut down the money flow, that's when you know the situation has turned deadly serious. The money drama blew up into its own saga. After King's high school rap stunt got clowned, T.I. vented in interviews about his son's embarrassing antics, saying he wasn't going to keep bankrolling someone who wasn't standing on business. By March, it spilled onto Instagram Live. King went off at his father over being denied funds for a music video. Tiny had to jump in once again, playing referee between her husband and her son, reminding King, "You're 19. But instead of cooling down, the whole situation exposed just how fractured the Harris household really was, caught between tough love, public humiliation, and a son who refused to give up the image he was chasing. T.I. wasn't bluffing when he said, "Earn it." He meant every word. He froze King's credit cards, telling the Breakfast Club, "I cut him off cold turkey. He gotta learn." That was real deal tough love, forcing his son to figure out how to survive without leaning on the Harris family money. For King, it wasn't just a lesson. It was a wake-up call in the harshest way possible. But King's pride wouldn't let him stay quiet. His beef with comedian Drusky, or Druk, as King kept calling him, was proof his ego kept dragging him into battles he couldn't win. On IG Live, King bragged that he made the phrase, standing on business, go viral during that infamous Falcons game spat with T.I. back in November 2023. He even threatened to pull up on Drusky if he didn't credit him for using it in his debut single. Drusky wasn't having it. He clowned King on air, dismissing the threats like they were jokes. And King, instead of matching wit with wit, he cracked under the pressure. His response was pure feelings, no strategy. He tried to fire back with a now deleted IG rant, roasting Drusky's build, saying he was shaped like a punch buggy, and accusing him of clout chasing. King even vowed confrontation, but instead of looking tough, he just came across petty and pressed. Meanwhile, Drusky's track went platinum, while King kept racking up more internet L's. Things got worse when even his education became a running joke. On the 2 Chainz and Trillionaires Club podcast, King struggled to spell the word tomorrow, leaving T.I. visibly shocked on national TV. Imagine your own father staring at you like you just failed the simplest test. That's the kind of humiliation that sticks forever. From frozen credit cards to viral beefs, King's journey has been one long spotlight on the messiness of growing up famous while chasing a life you never had to live. The Harris household saga proves that family drama, street dreams, and public slip-ups don't just fade, they live forever online. And trust, this story is still unfolding. If you don't want to miss the next chapter of hip-hop's wildest family feud, make sure you hit that subscribe button to Juicy Reel, where we bring you the drama, the receipts, and the scandals nobody else will say out loud.